No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Look at us, we're matching. We're doing it.
Fuck. Oh my God.
I'm in your house, Renee.
I know. We laughed about this for so long.
We did. Who was the first person who said you should do a podcast? I'd watch that.
It's come from a few different sources, but I feel like definitely Lauren had something to do with that for sure.
Yeah, I think she might have.
Yeah.
This is all your fault, Lauren.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I definitely think it was
Hey,
Lauren.
Renee.
Hi, Jess. Jess is in my house.
So we thought we'd do a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here we are.
We hadn't really thought out what we were going to say. We had a little, but...
Yeah, we've got a little bit. But I think... I don't know. People have put their faith in us. And I don't know if that's misguided or not yet.
Oh, no.
Guess we'll find out at the end.
It's all right. But there's a bit going on in the New Zealand knitting scene that we...
somehow found ourselves in the middle of.
Yeah. That's a really good way of putting that.
Yeah, because I don't know how I got in that half the time.
Yeah.
I just feel like sometimes I walk into situations, say some words, and then I'm there.
Well, I met you because you walked into a situation and you said some words.
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened there?
Yeah, so I put that little
This is adorable.
Up. It's so little.
This is how I met Renee.
Yeah.
On the internet. And she was posting this beautiful Milo that she had made. She was hapu at the time. How old's he now?
Oh, God, it'll be two in July.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it was posted on she posted it in a New Zealand knitting group for the love of all things woolly on Facebook. And you explained can you explain the...
Yeah, so I had done I have
hold it?
Yeah, sure. I have a degree, well, almost a degree, in Māori laws and philosophy. And one of our assignments was to talk about how Te Waka Pūsanga, so the Declaration of Independence, affects us in our everyday life. And so because my lecturer was very kind, and she knew that she never quite knew what she was going to get with my assignments. And this time I decided I drew up a knitting chart. And so within this knitting chart, it was all of the values that we found within the Declaration of Independence, and that's what I wanted this new baby to live by. So that's what that is. And if I remember right, this yarn had come from, this was from deep in my stash, and that had come from Rachel Loxham.
Yarn
Junkie. And the blue was a leftover from my son's hat, and that was from Joe at Yarn Therapy. So I just think like two awesome people also contributed to this cool little kaupapa. But yeah, so I posted it in the Woolly group, and things kind of spiraled a little bit.
It did a bit. It
yeah,
morphed into a really different conversation from
really
celebrating
did.
your
It
beautiful
really did.
Milo.
Because I was vocal about the lack of Māori representation in New Zealand knitting. And one of the comment threads turned into an absolute cesspit. Because that's what happens when, things aren't monitored. Really. But that's how Jess and I met. Because we were talking about a designer with zero integrity.
Yeah, we talked... A designer was put forward with Māori whakapapa as an example. But both... I had recognised that this designer had a tendency to copy and release other people's patterns.
Yeah.
Without crediting them.
Without crediting,
Which,
and that's
really I found really difficult to reconcile, because I really would like to support Indigenous artists.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially Māori artists.
Yeah.
Because we are a heavily white group.
Yeah.
Of that, white woman knitters with round faces and black rimmed glasses, and it's really hard to be a white woman knitter in New Zealand because there's just no diversity and we all look the same. We really do, guys.
I'm really glad you said that. I don't know if it would have the same effect coming from me.
I don't know, like...
It's true though.
White women with round faces. Well, it's not just white women though as well. We've got some really lovely knitters, but we all have round faces.
Yes.
And round bodies.
Yep. Yep.
And dark rimmed glasses.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We have a type.
Oh, absolutely.
We're the not nana knitters.
Yeah. Wow. I'd like to not be a grandmother anytime soon. I'd be worried if I was.
Yeah, hopefully it's a wee way back.
Yeah.
But I really valued, I saw what Renee put up, and I really valued her integrity and originality with her design, and how you'd taken something that existed in another, I'm trying to put words together, but how it had existed as a, because it's a tanako.
Yeah, a potama.
Design.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how you'd taken that in that format and translated it across into the knitting medium.
Yeah.
Was something that I just thought was just so cool, and I hadn't seen that before. And I'd seen people put up things and say that they were Māori inspired, but
They came out of that.
We might need to flip the video.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful book, by the way, but anytime you find a book with something with an amazing lace pattern in it,
it's probably come out of there.
It's probably come out of here.
Yeah. And multiple designers do this.
And
even really big name designers as well.
Andrea Mowry.
Yep.
Andrea Mowry has a top called Pink Fizz.
Yep.
And I didn't record what pattern number it was, but the lace pattern for Pink Fizz
has come out of this book.
I think I'll just do a side by side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the worst thing about that was that it wasn't until she was asked about it, that's when she said, oh yeah, I took it out of this book.
Yeah.
That's when she gave credit. And as far as I was concerned, the damage was done. You had already claimed it as your own.
Yeah. But not just her, not just that particular designer. I mean, there's so many. And I saw one the other day that used one of these patterns, and it said, this lace pattern has been inspired by Hitomi Shida and the Japanese Stitch Dictionary. It's not hard to do. It really isn't. Is that enough of our rant on that?
Yeah.
That book not getting the credit it deserves?
Yeah.
Go buy this book.
Go buy the book.
Buy this book.
But like even like the way that book is set up is so easy to just plug into anything.
Yeah, it is.
Like you can do it
and that's why it's easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The work's been done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, back to that post. It was through that post that Jess and I were talking about said designer. And she said, hey, there's this group here. I think you'd fit in really well. Because, like I said before, you know, the post had just turned into a bit of a cesspit. And the racism that was coming out was pretty normal for the time, I think, that...
Yeah, yeah. I think it's pretty normal for now too in certain circles.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think much has changed really in 2 years. But some of the spaces that we inhabit have changed.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But, yeah, so I joined this group that Jess invited me into, and I found like I had found my people, my knitting people. And
so it was a group
cool.
of people, of predominantly younger knitters, with varying skills and knowledge sets. Some really, really deep knowledge base. And people who were really open and free with sharing the knowledge that they had as well, which was quite special. But what we all had in common, there was two things we had in common, wasn't there? There was the fact that we knitted, and the fact that we all cared about social justice and diversity and equity and inclusion. And that sort of shaped going forward, really, didn't it?
Yeah.
The spaces that we had. And
2 years later, Jess is sitting in my house.
Because of a Milo on Facebook.
Yeah. And it was really just the start of something quite beautiful, wasn't it, Jess?
We created a monster.
We have created a monster, an absolute monster, but we're here for it.
Hey, so that kind of leads in, really. So you and I now know each other. We're in this smaller group online of knitters who care. And then another, the group that we were in initially, the one with where it sort of devolved a wee bit into a bit of a mudslinging match.
Yes.
That's a big group.
It was. I think it was.
It still is a big group.
About
4,000 people?
Yep.
Members?
Yep. Probably thereabouts.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you have a group of that many people there are a lot of opinions and, you know, different life experiences and everything all kind of being thrown into the comment section.
Hey, Renee.
Yeah.
Stick to your knitting. Why?
Oh.
Let's dial this back, eh? Let's take it back to the beginning.
Okay.
Why don't we just stick to our knitting? Just stick to your knitting, Renee. Why is that a problem?
That grinds my gears. Because knitting, I mean, I know for me, knitting is just in every being of my life now. I mean, I've gone through a degree using knitting as my assignments, for crying out loud. But knitting encompasses so much more than just a craft that, you know, we can wear or give away or things like that. Knitting, there's a stack ton of privilege that can go into it.
This is not a cheap hobby.
Oh, no. No, it is not.
So...
Holy heck, no.
Yeah, so, I mean, a ball of wool will set us... A ball of indie-dyed yarn.
You're averaging 30.
At least 30.
Anywhere between 30 and like 55, depending on the base. The base is really an important thing to factor into that. Especially if you're looking at more luxury bases.
There's a whole lot of yarn snobbery, isn't there, around the yarns that are used and people's yarns and yarn choices.
So, I mean, my Ursa that I'm wearing today is...
I love that jersey. It's such a good jumper. But what's it made from, Renee?
It's acrylic. It's from Lion Brand. It's Lion Brand acrylic. And I think it...
If we don't count the labour and the time involved, it cost. Yeah?
$30.
I love that.
Yep.
Yep.
But then I've got another cardigan that would have easily cost me $250 just in wool. So I mean, like, there's varying degrees of financial privilege that can go into this. And I'm lucky that, you know, I can kind of muddle through a stash that I've accumulated over the years and kind of throw something together like this one. But not everyone has that ability. And I think that that's a really important thing to remember when we're posting about things online especially is that while we all knit and we get it and we're all excited, sometimes what is being posted can be quite damaging. And
people flaunt. You think like flaunting stash?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that at all. So
Just showing off that masses of sometimes. It's a wee bit it makes me feel a wee bit uncomfortable sometimes. Like,
yeah.
If my husband's watching this, he's going to laugh because he's seen the state of our wardrobe, which is a number of flexi tubs and an awful lot of yarn. See, my grandmother was a knitter, and at least in my defense, at least one of the boxes in my wardrobe is grandma's yarn.
So there's a redeeming one there.
But some of it's a wee bit scratchy because a lot of it's out of the 70s and the 80s.
Lovely.
And a lot of yarn handling techniques have changed since then.
Yeah.
So, but I can't bear to get rid of it because it's got that.
Well, it's your nan's wool.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't want to get rid of it either.
Yeah. But you mentioned privilege before, and we've just talked about financial privilege as a means of a hobby. One of the other big privileges that I'm aware of with crafting is the time privilege.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
To have the time to craft something is such a huge privilege.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you look at, people are like, oh, knitting is women's work. Well, on top of all of the other women's work we have to, tend to our kids, tend to the house, cooking, cleaning, and then throw a full-time job on that. And
I knit till 11 o'clock at night. Usually.
Some nights I will just sit with my knitting in my lap and not even knit because I am too exhausted.
Yeah. 3 kids will do that to you.
3 kids will do that to you. Whose idea was that?
So time and, I don't know, for me, time and financial privilege are probably 2 of the reasons that knitting in particular has been gentrified. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I look back on our grandmothers and they knitted beautiful things.
Ooh, yeah.
Such stunning stuff. But they did it because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
For them to do that than it was to buy something.
Yeah.
But we've reached the point where that's flipped and it's now...
You can go to Kmart and get a cardi for $20.
And it looks hand knit.
It does look hand knit, especially at the moment. They've got all of their, winter knits in there.
Yeah.
And you know what? If that's accessible for some people, that's cool. And I love that. But I think people's expectations, especially if they're not knitters, do you get people coming to you and saying, hey, can you knit me this
should knit
thing?
me a jersey.
Yep.
No.
Yep. I know everyone is cringing on the inside as soon as they heard that because we've all gone through this. We all know this. And then, when they actually find out how much the materials are going to cost, even if we do, big box yarn, and then there's the time, because we should be able to pay ourselves.
If we're factoring time, yeah. I sat down the other day and it was well in excess of $500.
Yep.
For a chunky knit sweater.
Yep, absolutely.
Based on the time. And that was a really thick jumper done on big needles, but the time that was involved to make it was in excess of 20 hours.
That's still pretty good though.
That's a fast jumper.
Yep, you did well.
It was a real fast jumper.
You did well.
Still took 20 hours. But this one, I'm wearing a ranunculus at the moment, and I'm a big fan of the ranunculus pattern. I'll be honest, I'm wearing it inside out. Around the wrong, well, it's not inside out, it's back to front. Because I've worn this jersey so much, I've rubbed all the fluff off the front of it.
It's still beautiful though.
It's a beautiful jumper,
yeah.
But I have lost count of how many times I've worn this jersey. And I wear it to work, and I wear it at home, and I throw it on over clothes. And
I think that's something else too, is that like when we do spend so much money and time on these garments, we're more likely to wear them till they wear out.
yeah,
Whereas if they're coming from like big box stores, it's just like, oh, I'll just buy another one next season.
do you know, I think the other thing we do is we mend. We learn the value. When you've invested that much time in making something, you have learned to value it, and you are therefore more likely to mend it.
Yes. So, I will, however, never sew in ends. I hate sewing in ends.
I sew in ends.
I just don't. I just tuck them in. I'm so bad.
But there's tricks that you can do as well to reduce your ends.
Yeah, just tuck
end
them
weaving in. How are we friends?
I don't know.
What are you working on?
I'm doing a sorrel. So I have.
I'm going to hold it up for the camera so that other people can see this glorious.
It's quite bright, guys. Yeah, it's really
Keep going
like
up,
it's
up.
I can't see anything.
Look at that fade.
Okay.
Look at that.
Yeah, so this one's
Beautiful.
by Woolen Pine, and it's made out of my scraps. Really, except for the fluff that came from Nana Cindy. And it's called Tangerine Dream, if I remember right. But it's I like stash knitting.
You like pink.
I really like pink.
You've got it. I've just been through Renee's stash. Renee's got a lot of pink, and it's glorious. So pretty.
There is a lot of pink.
Yeah. So how are you finding that pattern? It's a
I really enjoyed it.
yeah.
I haven't really had any issues with it, really. I think what I might do, though, is rip back the neckline a little bit, just because I tried it on, it's sitting a little bit
It's
high.
quite high. That's the original sorrel, isn't it? Which has got the really high crew neck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just a personal preference for me.
Yeah.
I don't like
Do you
things up.
see that they've released a spring sorrel with the most, like the lower, like this?
And that's what I might try to hack.
Yeah.
But it means ripping back my hair, and I don't know if I'm prepared to do that.
Two-stranded thing where this habit that we have of knitting with a strand of mohair and a strand of finger away. I'm loving this trend.
I hope it never dies.
I am thinking that I probably like knitting on this gauge isn't ideal for the mohair. I think that allows it to rub out. So yours is at a much tighter gauge. I think that's going to wear a lot better.
These are 3.25 needles. Oh, I'm ribbing. I think the body was knitted on 3.5s.
Yeah. But that's so much firmer.
Yes.
I think that's going to wear really, really well. And I adore this jumper, and I'm going to make another one of them this year. It's in my queue. But I'm contemplating doing it, at a slightly firmer gauge to see if that holds the mohair a wee bit better.
So, if you were going to do that, would you move up a couple of sizes and then downsize your needle? Or how would you go about modifying a knit like that?
That's a really good question, because this is an interesting knit to start off with, because it's a one-size pattern.
Yes.
You can't downsize it.
No.
And I wear it. It's designed to be massively oversized, and it's only a little bit oversized on me because I have a big body. Yeah. So it has ease, but it doesn't have anywhere near the ease that it has in the pictures.
A straight-bodied person.
I know what I can do. There is a photo when I just finished this. I took it round to my friend Jess's house.
Oh, yes.
And we've got photos of her wearing this jumper and photos of me wearing this jumper. And it's, I mean, the ranunculus, honestly, it's like, you know that movie, The Sisterhood of the Travelling Pants?
Yes.
It's like The Sisterhood of the Travelling Ranunculus. Like, these things look good on everyone.
Yeah.
Except for the model in the sample picture.
No, that was, no, that's because that was a child.
But it's such a lovely jumper, but it's one size, oversized. Yeah. And they've done mods, and the mod increases the size availability. And
it was very much an afterthought.
Pushes it out to the plus sizes, and involves a bit of flicking between the patterns if you want to make it bigger. This is just the one size, the straight size that I made here. So I might consider that. The pluses of that, though, add-on for the bigger sizes mean that it starts with the same neckline every time.
Oh!
The neckline doesn't change, because that's the problem.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And our plus size knitters, our plus size pattern designers, they
think that our necks grow as well as everything else.
That goes out, but that doesn't go out at the same rate.
No. That's a really important thing, I think, to think about when we are going down like a bit of a pattern search.
I look at how the neckline fits.
Yep.
I look for the big sizes and how the neckline fits.
And I don't like flat lace in projects because I can't actually see how it looks on a person that looks like me. And like, I'm only a small fit, really. Like, I don't know, size 20.
Yeah, we're about the same size.
Yeah, 18, 20 on the top.
Yeah.
So if I can't see what this looks like on someone that looks like me, I'm probably not going to knit it until someone does.
Yeah. That has been a really big driver for why I've started taking photos of myself in my finished makes.
But also
and putting them out
she's
there.
like awesome.
I don't like being in front of the camera.
And yet here we are.
Made myself uncomfortable for you, Renee.
Love you for it.
Yeah, it's been a real challenge for me to get in front of the camera and take photos of myself and my finished pieces.
Mm-hmm. Well, because
credit to my husband there, because he goes out and takes photos of me, and there's always two sets of photos. There's the ones that I show people and the ones that I show a select group of people. Doing weird facials and
what do I do with my hand? Yeah. But I think it's really important though, because there aren't enough pictures of people like us wearing our knitting.
No. Do you know what was formative for me? That jumper. Not you wearing that jumper, but which looks awesome on you. But the fact that jumper exists.
Yes. And
can I just fangirl over Jackie Cieslak for a bit?
Oh my God, yes.
Because I love her. I'm the biggest Jackie fangirl. And I'll be honest, I bought the book. I pre-ordered the book because I knew it was going to be good.
And that was a lot. And like,
I've even taken up sewing.
That's that financial thing though.
It is.
Being able to pre-order a book that you actually have no idea what it's going to look like on the inside. But we
pretty certain that one wasn't going to be a dud.
No, not at all.
No. The book that we're talking about, let me get it, is this one, Embody.
Such a good book.
Such a good book. Look at her. She's beautiful. She's real and normal, and we love you, Jackie.
Mm-hmm.
But to see someone designing clothes for us.
Yeah, and that actually accounts for what we're going to look like in these.
And to see ourselves modelling and wearing these dresses. I have made 3 of these dresses, and I'm currently wearing one in a denim chambray.
And it is beautiful. And when I picked up Jess this morning, I was just like, oh, God, I need to learn how to sew so I can make that dress.
So I learnt to sew. I would say I learnt to sew to make this dress, but I didn't learn to sew to make this dress because I was already pretty haphazard with a sewing machine.
Yeah. All I know about a sewing machine is to make the N. I think, is it an N or an M? That's pretty much all I remember.
I thought I was pretty good with a sewing machine, and then I took my sewing machine away on holiday we did a crafting weekend with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then she looked at me and said, you're threading your bobbin the wrong way. You've got to put it through the tension plate. That's why that's an issue. Our light just went out. Can you see the light?
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Is it overheated?
I don't know.
We talked too long.
Maybe.
Might have been a half an hour marker. Shut up, guys. No one wants to hear you talk for this long.
It's like the Netflix. Are you still watching? Yes.
Should we swap the battery pack over?
Okay. I think that one has battery in it.
I'm not sure when we there we go.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We have light.
Gee, it does make a big difference, eh?
It does. Yeah. I'm not sure where we were when that happened.
Sewing.
Sewing.
Yeah. Yeah, you thread your bobbin the wrong way.
Well, I did. I don't anymore.
Well, that's...
Do you know what else I learnt that weekend?
Oh my gosh.
That my sewing machine has a knob, the one that goes round and round on the side when you're sewing.
Mm-hmm.
Real technical terms here.
Yeah.
And if you take that knob and you pull it out, stops the needle going up and down when you're filling the bobbin up.
That seems a lot less dangerous.
That's my level of sewing knowledge that I brought to this dress. So, yes, it's a beautiful pattern. It's really well done. I've worn this dress to work for at least 2 days of every work week since I've made it. It has the most amazing pockets in the front. That I can fit a can't think what the word is, reusable. That's the one, because we're all about sustainability. I can fit a reusable coffee mug in my pockets.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That is okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I look a bit stupid, but I've got a reusable coffee mug in my pocket, and I haven't at the moment, but
I'm just impressed if a pocket can hold my phone.
Yeah, no, this can hold, and you got two, so you can have your phone in one, and you can have your reusable coffee cup in the other.
Oh my gosh, you could carry a pair of socks in there.
I have carried a pair of socks in there.
No doubt, you have children.
They were wet with sand all over them. We live by the beach.
Yep, mother of boys, definitely.
Yep.
I suppose you're not like pulling out little dinosaurs and stuff as well.
Oh, it's Lego in our house.
Oh my gosh.
And snotty tissues.
Yep.
Yay, kids. But I decided the reason that I'm in Renee's lounge is that we have a family. I'm in Palmerston North for a family gathering.
Yeah, and you think I was going to let her be in town without being like, hey.
So my husband has kindly acquiesced to being the lead parent for the day, and I'm just coming to hang out with Renee while her kids are at school. But I had this brilliant idea. It's Friday today. I had this great idea on Monday night that I should knit my 8-year-old a jersey to wear to the family function on Saturday.
I think that's quite a recognisable pattern with a lot of us, because I don't start birthday notes until like 2 days beforehand as well.
No. Did your daughter like her cardigan?
I haven't finished it yet.
When was her birthday?
April. And I've missed another birthday since then too that I have not finished knitting for.
So I've got this far. And it's a family luncheon tomorrow, so I don't think he's going to get his new jersey. This is pretty much where I got to after 15 hours of travel yesterday with a delayed ferry and all of the other things that...
Well, I'll tell you what, James he wears crops.
Yeah, he does. Not sure my 8-year-old would go for the crop.
Maybe not.
Jumper look. But this is going to be pretty cool when it's finished. So
what pattern is that one?
This pattern, this is my favourite people, other than Jackie Cieslak.
Mm-hmm.
Tin Can Knits.
Oh my gosh, yes.
How good are they?
Yes.
Emily and Alexa from Tin Can Knits.
Amazing.
This is flax. So this is the DK, not DK, Aran weight, the heavyweight flax pattern. But instead of doing the panelled sleeves with the garter panel,
Mm-hmm.
I'm making a plain raglan jersey. And every 10 rows, every 10th row, I'm doing a pearl row.
Oh, nice.
So it's got little, you can just see in there, little garter bands, evenly spaced down through the body.
And now that pattern goes from like baby right up through to adult,
from
right?
newborn through to, I think it's a 4 or 5XL. Adult 4 or 5XL.
And that's pretty standard for all of their patterns, eh? Going up to that size?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
They do such good size inclusive
And they
patterns.
actually fit as well.
They grade the necks. See,
what a difference grading necks makes, guys.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you and I have dabbled in a bit of design too, haven't we?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. We go about it in different ways.
Yeah.
You knit every single size.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And I have an A-type personality. So I have a highly organised spreadsheet.
Oh my God.
Full of formulas.
On the Google Docs, I can't get my head around. I can't get my head around that. I just can't. It's just word muddle on paper. And it's even worse when you throw maths into it. But if I can knit every size and just write down what variants I've done.
That's a really labour-intensive way of designing.
It is really labour-intensive and it is quite yarn hungry. But it also means that I have a lot of knitting to gift as well.
That's true.
So,
You're a busy woman.
Yes. I am. But, I'm looking at making this my full-time gig now and I'm happier for it.
Yeah.
And I truly believe knitting is really good for mental health.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's been a saviour for mine. Even with the increased pressure of,
Do you think it's
timings.
the physical act of knitting, or do you think it's the people that you have met through your craft?
Ooh. I think it's both, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
I think for me, being neurodiverse as well, I really enjoy the process of knitting, not so much the finishing. Which is why
so you're a process knitter.
Yeah, which is why my whip pile is the way that it is.
Yeah.
But having other people around that just get it and support me through that is...
And say, for God's sake, Renee, are you casting on again?
Every time I wind wool, I hear Jess saying that. Every time.
You finished anything yet?
No.
No, that's the voice in the back of your head, isn't it?
Yeah.
You should finish that other one, Renee.
I tried really hard to pick this up and do the ribbing. I hate ribbing. I don't like it. I don't like it. I just don't.
And it's twisted rib too, but it just looks so beautiful when it's finished.
Twisted rib is so good, but oh my God.
The process of twisted rib is painful.
Yeah.
Probably not unlike childbirth, really. Not much fun when you're going through it, but the end result's all right.
Yeah, and then you forget about it until you go and do it again, and then you're like, oh my gosh,
and then you're like,
right.
I should definitely knit that thing with twisted rib on like
5 inches of twisted rib.
No, shit me now.
It's like going through the ring of fire again.
Oh, the ring of fire.
Yep, we all
that
forget
brings
about
up other. Do you know what? Never experienced it. Can't say. They came out sunroof.
Oh no. You're so lucky. But then
6 weeks of surgery recovery.
Yeah. Caesars, they have their own things as well.
Yeah. We got off topic.
But are you that surprised? Not really.
No.
Not really. What were we talking about?
I think we kind of talked it out.
Okay.
The plus sizing.
Okay. Do we want to talk about Libby?
I love how just you immediately jump from shit grading to truly myrtle.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, the floozy's bad.
Oh my god, okay.
Because it's not just the neckline, the plus sizes in that pattern. And I've had people contact me and say, hey, I've made a plus size floozy and the fit's perfect. But I've always gone back and said, yeah, but does the colour work sit in the same place on you as it does on a skinny person in the modelled pictures? And it doesn't. And smaller people, it's up this way.
Yeah.
Bigger people,
it's like down around our armpits.
It's across the bicep. Have a look at it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just one of the things.
Yeah, it's not even just the floozy. I think it's...
I mean... Voices for Freedom.
Oh!
Are we going to talk about Voices for Freedom? I don't really want to give them airtime.
No, I don't either.
It's such a shitty thing that they're doing.
Such a shitty thing.
But they're just asking questions.
Yeah, and I think because Voices for Freedom...
Maybe we could just ask some questions.
Oh.
Yeah?
I like that idea. What would you ask?
Renee,
what would you ask them?
Would you like to get your medical information from somebody with a knowledge of science and an understanding of medical practices? Or would you like to get your medical information from a food blogger, a knitwear designer and a crochet designer?
I would definitely pick Susie.
Susie?
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely pick Susie and Ashley over bloggers.
Susie Wiles. Pink-haired Susie.
Oh, yeah.
Love her.
She knows her stuff.
Yep. Ashley Bloomfield.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what? I'll go with them too.
Yep.
I think the information that Voices for Freedom's putting out is really damaging.
Especially when it's going into everyone's mailboxes.
And we're not talking digital email boxes either.
No, physical mailboxes.
Nationwide.
Yep. Yeah, we've had friends all over the country that have received these.
Yeah.
And if we're receiving them and we can see through all of the misinformation on there, what about people that can't?
They look professional.
Oh, they do.
And actually, do you know what really shits me about those? Is that they use the term SARS-CoV-2, the official scientific name for COVID-19. And it makes it sound more official than it is. It gives it more...
And it makes it
gravitas. It sounds more important. It sounds like they know what they're talking about.
Yep.
But they're just asking questions.
I
don't know. I think too, I feel that there's a real duty of care for the leaders in our community.
Yes.
To look after our community.
Yeah. And when they're intentionally spreading misinformation like that to our community, which, knitting has, travelled through the generations.
Yeah, it has.
And a lot of our elderly are still knitting. And they're seeing this information that's being spouted by a leader in the community.
Yeah. I think that's really dangerous of Truly Myrtle to have been.
Yeah,
I mean, as a founder, and Alia Bland.
Yep. The little bee.
Yeah. The links to white supremacy, that makes me feel real awkward because I didn't think that they were involved there. But
hey, Kyle Chapman.
Maybe it's not that they've embraced him, but he certainly embraced them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's
and when he's pushing out,
pretty hard to move yourself away from that.
Yeah,
it's not a good look.
You can't. As soon as
if a white supremacist wants to be part of your group, there's something wrong with your group.
Yeah. But when your group is getting mixed up with people like that,
they started.
Yes.
They founded that group in New Zealand.
Yep. And especially when, two of the founders is New Zealand's biggest knitwear designer.
Yep.
And I'd say New Zealand's biggest crochet designer as well.
Yeah, the two of them would be together. Yeah.
Yeah.
But does that circle back to our privilege conversations? Too much time? Bit of money? I don't know.
Well,
are our communities of privilege the ones who are most likely to be adversely impacted by COVID? Our privileged communities are the reasons that the disadvantaged communities overseas are being adversely affected.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't poor people who spread this virus.
No.
It was rich people on planes travelling who brought it home.
Yeah.
And then brought it to people who have worse health outcomes and
wow.
And wreaked havoc on societies. Rich people have done this.
Yeah, and then when you look at...
Which is a hard thing to say, because I was expecting to see someone from Melbourne this week.
Ooh.
And they've just entered a lockdown. So...
Yeah, maybe not.
She's not coming.
No.
And that sucks. It's so gutting on a personal level.
Yeah.
It's devastating on a personal level. But the big
would you
picture...
rather that they stayed there in their lockdown, or they came over and potentially brought it back over here?
Yeah.
You know, like...
I took lockdown so seriously, our New Zealand lockdown.
I loved lockdown.
I hated it.
Yeah, and I understand that, you know, some people, like, lockdown just was not a good thing for them.
No, I was trying to work, and I was trying to work remotely and parent kids, and my husband works in the food manufacturing industry, so he was a essential worker. So he was working out of the home, and we had the whole bubble scenario, but our bubble included the 50 odd people at his workplace and all of their families. And so I made a real firm line that our bubble was going to end with us. I didn't know what was happening at work, but I didn't go to my work. And we live close to my parents and to my husband's mum. And my children's grandparents are hugely involved in my kids' lives. And that was a really hard thing to do, to cut them out for...
Yeah, I remember...
For that 6-week period. That was... I mean, we were still talking, but it's the physical being with them that was really...
Yeah, 2 of my kids had birthdays over lockdown. Yeah, and, right. You know, one of them was a 5th birthday. Like, it's a big birthday. And I remember my mum and dad came down the street and the kids were waving from the window.
Yeah.
And that was all that we could do on their birthdays, which is so sad. But
we had Gran come and set up with her, she had her camp chair and she came and sat down on the lawn, and our kids came and sat out on the balcony.
Oh, see?
And had a big chat with Gran.
That is amazing.
Over like a 12-metre, 1-story difference, so the entire neighbourhood heard the conversation as well.
Right.
Do you know how long we've been talking for?
How long?
48 minutes. Do you think anyone's still with us?
I think maybe. Well, I'd hope so. And if so...
Nah, I don't reckon.
You don't reckon?
Nah, I reckon Lauren's the only one who's watched till the end.
Well, that's because she's diehard.
We love her.
And I think if people still are, that they take away something from this.
Have we given them anything to take away? You get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. No.
Grade your necks.
What?
Grade your necklines.
Yes. Yes. Please, for the love of God. Don't call a pattern a plus size pattern.
Yeah.
If you haven't graded the neckline.
Yeah.
If you don't just make something... It's all very good to knit something up, to grade something up to a 70-inch bust. But if the neckline makes it unwearable...
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah, and if you're testing patterns, be really honest.
Actually, no, that's... Do you know what? I can go on for a bit longer about size inclusivity.
Yeah, let's go.
Janie Hoffman, Knitosophy.
Oh, yes.
I think that's how you say her business name.
That's how I read it.
Yeah. She knits her largest size as a sample. Did you realise that?
She's a straight-sized woman, yeah?
Yeah, she is.
See?
So she grades up to these quite large sizes to be really size inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has those her makes modelled by a proper plus-size model who is stunning.
Yes.
Absolutely stunning. And all of her patterns are size inclusive because she grades them and then knits them in the biggest size. She knows as a straight size person.
Actually going to work.
But she knows as a straight size person what they're going to look like.
Yeah.
And in that bigger size.
Yeah.
That's the key for me, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that knitting them in like a size 12 and then
grading from a 12.
And then grading from a 12, that doesn't work.
Well, I think it does if you're sticking to the sizes under size 18. It doesn't work if you're going to call it a plus size.
No.
Which is the problem with the solution, the situation that we've got ourselves into.
Yes.
Is that we have a number of designers who start at a 12 and go to maybe an 18.
Yeah.
And then that's where it ends.
Yeah. And I think that there was such a big and rightful call for designers to be more size inclusive that people ran with it, which was really cool. But I don't know if they've actually done the appropriate grading for it as well.
Well, I suspect perhaps people jumped on it because it's a good thing. But what my concern is it's actually let plus size knitters down.
Yep.
Because the people who have been grading to these big sizes haven't had the skill to grade it properly.
Yeah.
For the knitters that they're selling it to.
Yep, absolutely. And, you know, when you're looking at 15 NZD for a sweater.
Yeah, 15, New Zealand dollars.
Yeah, and then you find out that the grading just
Well, actually, no, it's not just $15 for the sweater, though. Like, you think about a 4-ply. Let's take Floozy, which is an example of a poorly graded neckline in the plus-size patterns. That's a lot of yarn. It's a 4-ply cardigan. Yeah. And to knit a 4-ply cardigan in a size 10 is going to take you a bit of time.
Yeah.
But to knit it in a size 24, it's not just double the knitting, it's more than double the knitting.
Yeah. And then to get to the end of it and find out
your neckline doesn't fit.
No.
Like it's
soul destroying.
It is. And it's the investment of time, the investment of resources in the yarn and in the pattern. And then people are left feeling that they haven't...
That they're at fault.
They're at fault because they haven't read the pattern properly.
Yeah.
And the whole... I checked out from that designer. I used to get that designer's... I used to get the emailing list and the newsletters. And one of the things that really actually upset me and really stayed with me was a floozy that was really, it was beautifully knit, it was beautifully made, but it was poorly sized.
Yeah.
And the grading was terrible. It was a plus size one.
Yeah. And
that was brought up in one of the big New Zealand knitting groups online. That week, the designer put out a newsletter, and in the newsletter stated that knitting was great because if it didn't fit, you could just unravel it and knit it again. And as a plus size knitter, that's
the audacity to just
borderline
assume
gaslighting.
Yeah,
it is.
Someone just
because it's one thing to pull apart and reknit a size 12 or a size 10, but this was a big cardigan. It was a really big cardigan, and it was months and months of work that this designer was just casually saying, "Oh, it's okay, just rip it out."
This isn't a hat, you know.
No, if it was a hat, you'd give it to someone it did fit and then make another one.
I'd be happy to rip a hat back, but if I had to rip back a whole plus size cardigan, I would.
In 4-ply?
Oh yeah, No, and this is another reason why it's really important.
Well, I think what that highlighted to me. Sorry, I totally jumped on you there and interrupted you.
I love it.
What it highlights to me is the complete lack of understanding from that designer of what it means to knit a plus size pattern.
Yeah. And this is what's really important is that testers need to be honest about whether it fits, what it looks like. You know, like
actually, do you know what? Testers, stop expecting that shitty fitting clothes are your problem. If you're a test knitter and you're test knitting something, you deserve well-fitting, well-designed clothes.
And that's why we have test knitters.
Don't test knit something and then
just assume that
that's how it's supposed to look on your body because you don't deserve, or you've been fed this line that you don't deserve to have well-fitting clothes or beautiful clothes, because you do, and your body's important.
Yeah.
And your body's worth it, and your body carries you through this life. So honor it with well-fitting and
beautiful garments
from designers who understand bodies like yours.
Yeah.
That's probably a good note to end that wee rant on.
Yes, I think so.
I could talk all day about size inclusivity and the importance of grading.
Yeah.
And grading well.
Yeah.
It's taken me a long time. It took me a long time to find the courage to knit and make clothes for myself, and it's only been because of some really inclusive designers who have been really visible in their own bodies that I felt comfortable and confident to knit for myself.
And that's why we should stop the flat lays. Kill the flat lays.
Yeah.
Wear your garments. Take the photos.
Take the photos.
Oh. I know that, like, a lot of us are uncomfortable because we've carried children or we don't look like we did when we were 14. But you
ate a packet of salt and vinegar chips, the family pack of salt and vinegar chips last night.
Every
and
night.
Share any with the children.
Every night. But
you want some salt and vinegar chips now?
I don't have any.
Or burger rings?
I ate them. No, the kids ate the burger rings. I hate burger rings.
We might have to go to the supermarket. Oh, Renee, this has been fun.
I know. I always have fun hanging out with you. Like the last time we hung out was Fibertron, and you were just in and out like a lightning flash.
Yeah, well, my plane got delayed.
Of course it did.
Because I was doing the flying trip. And that was July last year. In between the...
That was the first time we actually like met.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think actually it was Fibertron that made me really realise how undiverse our community is. Because that was the first time, well, one of the first times that I was actually seeing it all in a room. And that's not on Fibertron at all. That's just a reflection of our community.
It was more about the clientele and the people who were there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And because there were some amazing traders at Fibertron.
Oh, absolutely.
And their code of conduct. They had such a good code of conduct.
It is not hard to write a code of conduct and like actually stick to it and not do it out of jest as well, I think.
Yeah, meaning it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to Fibertron.
Oh, I can't
wait. That's our next time we're going to hang out.
Well, at least it's only a couple of months away.
Yeah. July.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of work to do before then. So much work to do.
Knitting? Yeah.
Knitting and dyeing.
And dyeing.
Yeah. But it's going to be good. And I'm just really looking forward to seeing everyone.
Yeah, me too. And that last year's Fibertron, I flew from Nelson to Auckland and then was planning to drive from Auckland to Hamilton to go, and I did all that on the morning. So I left home about 4:00 in the morning to get to Hamilton for about 10. It was all going to work, but my plane got delayed. And I didn't make it to Fibertron until lunchtime.
Yeah, about midday-ish.
Yeah. And then, yeah, we really didn't get an awful lot of time to hang out.
We didn't.
It was only a couple of hours, and then I was gone again.
And I was quite aware of you cannot hold Jess or to yourself. You have to share her.
So this time I'm going on Friday.
Yes.
And we've booked a house. And Renee's not staying with me.
No.
I'm not quite sure what happened there, but
because I failed to adult.
But maybe we should take some time. We could do this again. We could see what the response is. If
do you think people would want to see more of us?
Don't know. We can find out.
We'll find out. I think people
they can hear us talk some more shit about knitting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to unpack there. It's been a bit of a turbulent last couple of years.
Well, there's a whole lot more there
Yeah.
that we haven't even scraped the top of.
No, we really haven't.
This is more of an introduction, really. I think people can see we're a bit passionate about stuff.
I think maybe this is like an abridged version, maybe. I don't know. Do you guys want us to talk more?
Mm. What are we going to call this? Do we need a YouTube channel?
I don't know, do we?
I don't know.
I think because our meetings are so
Infrequent.
we
could do them over Zoom.
Wow. Hasn't that just changed the game?
We could. It's much better, though, being able to hang out in person.
I do prefer the hanging out in person.
Yeah. And knitting.
Yes.
All right. Till next time.
Next time. Oh my gosh.